All right, welcome back from my last video of how to install a microwave vent. Today we're gonna go ahead and make the wife happy and put her range hood up in the form of a shiplap. So as you can see, I already did the angle. It's gonna be a 15-degree angle. And then the measurement from the bottom to top was 14 inches. So who'd ever thought middle school math would come back as needed. So you do a little bit of Pythagorean theorem measuring, and that gets you the measurements that you need to do your angles to keep it consistent on both sides. So I'm gonna take a Dremel, I'm gonna cut the molding off the back, and then I'm gonna show you how I create a nice shiplap out of a piece of plywood that'll look nice once it's painted, and we'll put some blocks in there and we'll screw it up to the top, and then a little bit of finishing, so stay tuned. Okay, went ahead and cut the angle after doing our Pythagorean theorem math. As you can see, angle lines up. Cut it with a Dremel. So your normal, you don't have to be a Dremel, you get a multi-tool, Milwaukee, rigid, anything to your preference, or battery or whatever, to make it easier. But now what we'll go ahead and do, we'll go down, vacuum it to make the wife happy, but we'll go down and we'll cut a sheet of plywood, first measure this all out, and then cut a sheet of plywood, and then what we'll do is we'll cut some ridges in the plywood to give it that shiplap look to it. But before we mount it, we're gonna have to put or anchor some pieces behind here, and we'll have to measure because I'm gonna use 3/4 inch plywood, but as we did down here, 3/4 inch. But we'll measure it back, and then we'll create little buttons on the front for inconceivable, very little noticeable look. But I'll show you how to do all that. We'll get it up, we'll get it buttoned up, and we'll put a new fresh coat of caulk, and then finish with some trim work in the next video after that, that we're gonna have to do there, some corner trim. So things to come, things to see, stay tuned. All right, we made the cut, 15-degree angle on the bottom, 15-degree angle on the top, 14.5 inches by 30 inches wide. As you can see, lines up pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that last little notch off in the corner there, going straight across on the 15-degree, and then I made some holes, or some marks for some holes, so we can screw them into the cabinet. But I wanna make sure that I have those set right before I do so. So I'll drill some pilot screws, and then I'll pull it flush, and then we'll get a good measurement to fully screw it down. All right, stay tuned. Okay, we went down and trimmed, did the screw holes. That is a pretty flush cut for wood. We'll do a trim piece across the top once it's done, and then pull it tight. All right, now that that's screwed in place, I'm gonna take it back down and cut the shiplap to give it the shiplap look. Then we'll remount it and cut the trim piece for the top, and that'll be it. Wife can paint it. So to do the shiplap, you just need a table saw. We're gonna set it to 4 inches on the space. You only want it 1 notch of the plywood for the depth set, and then we'll do every 4 inches. So I'll do 4, then I'll move it to 8, and then 12 to get my notches cut, and then we'll go from there. There you have it, the shiplap's cut. So we'll go back upstairs and we'll mount it up there for the wife. And that's the final product, minus the trim work on the top and the paint. Finishing touches. All right, so to kind of follow up and show you what the finished product is gonna look like, still needs one more coat of paint and the 2 buttons on the screws but I went ahead and added a piece of trim at the top to make it look seamless, and then obviously repaint ceiling. And then the last video I had mentioned I was going to do the trim, so there's the trim around the rest of the corner. And I have plenty more trim to do in the house, so I'll show you in a later video if you stay tuned on how to cut trim.